this isn't a particular scenario, but these are helpful phrases that I've collected or I've learned from other people that are applicable in many, many situations. So I'm going to go through them and feel free to use or adapt any of these into your own negotiation scenario. So the reason this is important is because the way you phrase your sentences, the words that you use, that matters a lot. So we have this image here where this has happened to me quite a bit, where it's like, how are you doing today? And then the other person says, I'm doing good. How are you? And then you say, doing good. How about yourself? And so it's like a minor social faux pas where it's like you're asking the same question to them twice and you get embarrassed, right? Totally normal. The stakes are high when it comes to a negotiation phone call. And so you have to come into that conversation prepared about what you want and why you want it. So choose your words wisely. Think about what you say and also what you don't say. That's the part that people don't think about. The information that you're withholding has power, and make sure that you're cognizant of what do you not want to share in this call. And then again, generally, recruiters will have way more information than you. They're going to have a deeper, better ability to measure you and influence you over a phone call rather than over email. And so for things that are very deliberate and thought out, I would prefer that conversation to happen over email rather than over a phone call. The other thing too is that throughout the whole negotiation process, I would strongly recommend or encourage you, please don't apologize. You're not doing anything bad or evil by negotiating. You are trying to understand what is your market worth, and you're trying to get that. It's a totally rational thing to do, and in fact, it's a good thing to do. And so as you go through all the phrasing or as you think about the conversation with the recruiter, if you find yourself saying sorry a lot, or I'm really sorry to trouble you, try and avoid that altogether. It'll make you appear a lot stronger if you come in with a clear conviction on why you're doing what you're doing. Okay, the first phrase is very simple, interesting. I love this word as a very default response to whatever you get told in a phone call or in an email. So the idea is that interesting is positive and non-committal as a way to just give an update or reply to an update. So the recruiter will say, hey, here's the hiring manager thought of you, or here's how the interviews went, or here are the initial numbers of the offer. You say, oh, that's really interesting to know. Thank you for sharing that. And so by saying that, you're advancing the conversation by acknowledging that you got the number or got the update, but you're not judging positively or negatively whatever was said. And the way that you succeed in negotiation is to be really thoughtful about what emotion or what information are you leaking when it comes to these different numbers. And so interesting is a very good default response. If you can't think of anything to say, oh, interesting. Thank you for sharing. That's really helpful. Interesting. Okay, phrase number 2 is compensation is definitely important for me, but I care a lot about the people I work with and what I'm working on. I want to do my best work in a company that values me. So why is this good? It shows that money is important, right? But if you go into the first call with a recruiter or even the ending call and say, hey, I just want more money. I think in today's society, that is not going to be viewed positively. And companies don't want to work with people who are that mercenary. They want to work with people who really, truly care about the people and the mission of the company. And so this phrasing is indicating that money is important. So you're not saying that I'm going to be working for no income. It's important, but it's part of a larger picture. At the same time, it's also indicating that there are other parts of the package which are important, might be equally important, might be unequally important. You're not actually revealing that. And that ambiguity on what you actually care about is actually a benefit. It's a feature, not a bug. So when companies are trying to evaluate you on whether it's worth their time to interview you or advance you onto the offer stage, they're going to try and gauge, okay, what's our chances of giving this person a competitive offer that they're actually going to take? This is a good line to use to make sure that you're saying something non-committal and yet still showing interest in the company. Okay, phrase number 3. At this time, I'm more interested in understanding the company and people rather than the compensation. I'm sure we can work out the compensation if we think this is a mutual fit. So why do I love this? It's because you're effectively deferring the compensation discussion. If a recruiter does try and pressure you and say, hey, I want to know what you're trying to make just to see if we can meet that, or if I can just reject you right now because it's not a good fit, this is a really good way of answering that question. You are saying firmly that, hey, right now, I'm not going to give you a number. That is the number one rule of negotiation. Don't reveal a number first. I'm confident that what I've heard about the company and all the information I have, we can figure out some good fit later on. But right now, I want to evaluate you and you want to evaluate me. So I think that phrasing is a really good way to deflect the question. And the other thing I like about this is that you're reinforcing that the other parts of the job are equally as important as compensation. So you're not so focused on money. And finally, you're talking about a mutual fit. So it's not just you in a weak position trying to get judged. You're also judging the company. And if there's a mutual fit, then you're confident there'll be an agreement at the end. So I think this is a really good way of handling any kind of question around compensation. Okay, I have a few other opportunities I'm in the process for, but this is compelling enough that I'm ready to commit. So what you're saying here is that you are a hot commodity and there are other companies you're talking to, but you're willing to go ahead and forego all that potential upside and all the opportunity if this company gives you a compelling offer. So FOMO, in the same way that VCs often will operate purely out of fear of missing out, FOMO, companies are kind of similar. Whereas you tell them, hey, I have an on-site interview next week with this other company, or I have an offer coming out tomorrow, but let's just close the deal here. I'm really excited. There's a good chance you can get a lot more leverage and negotiation power that way. Next, that role wasn't a great fit, so I'm exploring adjacent opportunities. So this is a good way of basically telling people that, for whatever reason, I am no longer exploring that opportunity. Because what will often happen is early on in the conversation, you'll share with them to some extent, hey, there are XYZ companies that I'm talking to. And not all of them will work out, or maybe none of them will work out. And then you don't want your rejection to negatively taint your interview with this company. And so the best way to handle that is, hey, this is a two-way door. Going back to this idea of mutual fit, it could have been my decision or it could have been the company's decision that job did not work out. So this is a very good way, a graceful way of handling a question about a job rejection or a layoff, or you got pipped in your previous job. And it shows that you are the one in control. You're not being acted upon that you got pipped and now you're the victim. You're the one who made that decision. That's how you should phrase it. Okay, next is, my focus is to have tons of impact at the company and I want to take part in the success. This is a really good way of talking about how and why you want more equity, why you want more stock in the company. The idea is that you're reinforcing that you will have a huge amount of value. It's a high leverage role, and you're going to have a lot of value when you come in and start working. And because you're going to create so much value for the company, you want to take part in that success. You want to grow wealthy with the company. And the way you do that is through having more equity. And that confidence of coming in and saying, I will have impact, that confidence is a sign of a strong candidate. Confidence is attractive. Okay, next. This is a large decision and I want to commit fully to the job I end up choosing. I want to do right by the company I joined and build up the next part of my career there. So this is a advanced way of saying, I just want more time, right? You're telling me I have to decide by Friday. I need at least another week. And so you're basically telling them, hey, this is a huge decision. I'm going to be committing 40, 60, 80 hours a week of my life into this job. And so I want to make sure that I make that decision with all the information and I do it with a clear mind of what I'm getting myself into. And the second part of it is really interesting because you're phrasing it in a way to talk about how it's a benefit for the company, which is a really good mind trick to play. A lot of people will do is that they take something which is clearly better for them, but they'll phrase it in a way which is better for you to make it sound as if it's better for you. So here you're saying, I want more time because that'll actually end up benefiting you so that I come in and I feel fully committed to you. And there's some truth to that too. So you're not lying, but this is a really good way of phrasing or asking for more time. Okay, next, if you could send over the offer, I'd love to take a look in more detail. I'm chatting with my partner about the job stuff, so I should be able to give you an update after that. And this is powerful because you're basically, again, asking for more time, and you're indicating that, yeah, if it was up to you, you would 100% be able to make a decision quickly, but you need to get input, either from the recruiter, you need to get their offer from them, or you need to talk to your partner. And so you have to be strategic about when do you want to be in the driver's seat and in control. And then there are scenarios where you want to flip that and you want to actually be the one who is waiting for information. You're waiting for people to give you something or act on something. And so this is a good way of, again, asking for more time.